Hello and welcome to our Round Coaching podcast, episode number 41. We have got co-host Mel and Rachel is here as well from All Round Coaching Coaches.
Yeah, you've All Round Coaching Coaches. That's the first time you've ever introduced the brand that way.
Well, the two coaches are here from All Round Coaching, plus the head of creative that Mel give herself that title.
Yeah, you've got a double whammy today.
No, it's a triple whammy.
Yeah, but you're always here. I sometimes appear, and obviously Rachel's done a few now.
Yeah,
so.
sometimes I just chat to myself.
It's a throuple tonight.
Yeah, there we go. It's a throuple. We're aiming to do this one, we say it every time, a bite-sized one so people can just listen to it on the go as they drive to work and obviously not pay too much attention probably. But we're going to do it on, because it does keep cropping up, body composition, why scale weight means fuck all, and exercise and beyond fat loss, because I think that's everybody's tried to do that at the minute. So if we start on body composition, I think Rachel's a good example of this. You started coaching with me over 3 years ago, and we did put a post out once. It might be worth digging that up from somewhere, where you weighed the exact same but your physique looked completely different.
Yeah,
so
it was pretty mad.
Would you have said at one point you were tied up on how much you'd have weighed? Or?
Yeah, definitely. It was like that number on the scale. It was always like, oh, if it's dropped, then great. If it's increased, then... But to see my body, like, side by side, the exact same weight, looking completely different.
Yeah.
It was just, like, mad to see that.
I know. I think a lot of people, they base their success on, the scales will come down this week, I've done well, despite it fluctuating. If you weigh yourself every day, it's likely that you'll weigh something different at least 3 or 4 times out of that week. Mm-hmm. So not just basing the success on, I've lost fat. Like, we don't know if it's body fat or not. Like, your body composition's going to say that, and that's why all of them do link into each other. And I think, Mel, in the time that you've been with me, you lost a total amount of...
4 kilograms is... That's
no,
it.
It wasn't 4 kilograms, was it? It was 4 pounds.
Was it?
Yeah.
All right.
4 kilos, quite a bit.
Here's me thinking that I've lost a plate. I'd barely lost anything in the grand scheme of things. I don't know about you, Rach, but I mean, I think I've probably said it before, but I hate the scales. I absolutely despise them. I think there's nothing worse than when you feel like you're in a really good trajectory and then you step on the scales and then that number completely, like, it can be a blow sometimes if it's not the way that you want it to be. And I don't think I came to you with that impression that the weight is what I was looking for. I think I've always had the mentality of, well, if my jeans fit okay, then I'm in a good shape.
Not just that, because all fucking clothes sizes are different. And I think for me, like, if you have a bad relationship with the scales, get rid of them. But if you know that, quote unquote, ticking every box, you're working hard, you're training, you're eating well, and you're doing all the right things, and you're just focused on being a little bit lighter, but your body looks mint, does it actually matter what you weigh? No. And it is still hard getting that through to clients. Like, some people get impatient or they want the results after 4 weeks and they expect to lose 2 to 3 pounds every single week without fail.
Where do you think that comes from? Like, for you, Rach, like, where did you feel like that sentiment of, I've lost half a stone, or I've lost a couple of pounds, like, I must be going in the right direction? Like, was that something that you picked up from when you were younger, or?
I feel like talking to, like, my mum and then, like, Ben's mum, his auntie, like, I feel like that generation, like, they, like, it's like skill weight, like, that's the biggest thing for them, like, and I think, like, me, like, definitely with, like, when I've spoken to my mum, I've showed her my body look completely different at the exact same weight, side by side. She's finally started to understand, like, oh, actually, like, maybe scale weight isn't the biggest thing, but I do think it's that kind of, like, generation where the skills are, like, kind of everything.
Yeah.
And I think more and more people, like, obviously still now people do, but more and more people are starting to understand that now that's kind of getting out there more, I think.
Yeah, hopefully it does subside, because there's so many things that affect scale weight. So everybody thinks it's just fat gain, and it isn't. It can be your hormones, it can be what you've eaten, water retention, stress. There is more than one thing that impacts the scale weight, and I think that's getting through to people. If you are obviously on the morbidly obese side, then yeah, you do want to see the scales come down, and probably at a quicker rate. But for general clients, I don't work with that many morbidly obese people. I've done it in the past, and obviously it is more of a psychological issue for them. But the general person, it doesn't really matter too much on that scale weight unless you are severely overweight.
So for anybody that has got that mentality that the scales are the success rate, like, is there a way that you both would kind of suggest, like, take a step away from that, just just eradicate the scales for a little bit, see how you feel, like, what?
Yeah, like if your happiness is at the end of a number, then there's something amiss there. So if you haven't got a good relationship, then remove it for 30 days and focus on feeling good. You know that your body changes. Like, that's the mind-blowing thing, like your body composition. If I said to you, you can look absolutely amazing and weigh the same, what are you going to pick? Like,
Yeah, you're gonna want to look good, like.
yeah.
But I guess, like, for me, when I was going through the whole, well, I still obviously I'm going through the coaching process with you. Like the progress photos, having that. We do fortnightly check-ins. Obviously, I don't personally think you see massive differences in the space of a week.
No.
You see it over the course of 3 months, week by week. But I think having them progress fit pictures and having that goal in mind, I think that certainly helped me kind of get to where I wanted to get to without having to rely so heavily on that scale success.
Yeah, I think pictures have a true representation, because I think, like, even you, Rachel, had we have not had your pictures and your scale weight was the same, we'd have probably thought, fuck me, we've got nowhere.
Yeah.
So, like, your pictures were night and day. I will try and find them, because they should be, like,
I
further back.
actually like had that in mind the other day, and I was rooting for, and I did find them. So
Alright,
I'll
send them to
over.
me.
But they're a really good reminder of, like, I mean, I started not last year, the year before, really, and, like, looking at where I was when I first started, like, even when I'm having a day where I'm like, oh god, you know, I feel extra bloated, I feel really fluffy, like, I look at those pictures going, actually, I'm not anywhere near as where I was. Like, I'm still on a journey. Like, I just need to get, and I do, to be fair, I still go back to where I was in May when I felt like I was in my peak. Like, and go, that's where I want to go. Like,
I was pretty jealous of Mel, to be honest, because I'd spent since I was 13 to get to a point where you looked, and it only took you fucking 5 months.
Testament to your coaching.
Oh, thank you. You just responded well to an actual training structure, though, and eating better. I don't want to say, like, because nobody diets with me, but eating better and actually training for health and a physique rather than just being a lighter version of yourself.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, I know personally, I said to you, I came back from Barcelona a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, you even said to me, like, what's happened to you? Like, what, you literally, like, coming back looking like a jug of sangria. And like,
I think that looks pretty good, to be fair.
It does some days it looks tasty, some days it does not. But yeah, just I think I said to you, like, I've got a goal in mind, which is to get myself back to where I was in May, and I've got them pictures in my head. So it's not a case of I want to get to 10 stone one, or no, I want to get to 9 stone what. Like, it's I want to look like this again and feel like this again. Not just in aesthetics, but I felt strong then as well.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like weak and pithy.
It's your diet plays a role in that. Like, when people start to feel lethargic or they feel like shit, like the nutrients that you are getting, obviously you'd come back from, was it 2 solid days of drinking, eating takeaway, and
yeah, I'd had pizza and I'd potatoes deep fried, and
so
a lot
more
of bread.
processed foods.
Yeah, so yeah, it was a good trip, but I feel
Yeah,
like
it's not to say you can never have fun again, but I think people get too obsessed with how much they weigh, put all the success into that rather than how they actually feel. So, I mean, if you are building muscle, which is really fucking hard to do, if anyone thinks they're going to wake up massive, you won't. But if you are building muscle and losing body fat along, obviously, how long you've been with me, over 3 years, and you're just over 1.
Yeah.
So if you've got a little bit more muscle on your frame, obviously muscle takes up less space than fat does. So you can be a smaller version, but a more lean, toned one, which is the results that both of you got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, that's my 10 penneth anyway. But I think for me, everybody just exercises to lose body fat, and nobody thinks like, oh, I'm going to feel healthier from this. I'm going to, like, looking better as a byproduct anyway. But everybody just associates exercise with fat loss.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, really, because when you think about it, when you first start exercising, really, like, you're talking primary school age, aren't you? When you, as a person, you start consciously understanding this is what exercise is. And normally you're running around the fucking playground, like, doing kiss chase and whatnot, like, so it's not, it doesn't feel like exercise. So at what point does exercise...
Did you know that TAG stands for touch and go?
No, I
I
didn't
never
know
knew
that.
that. Like, tag, you're it. Right, I just had to put that in there. Like, my
did you
little
learn that?
ADHD brain. 'Cause you know when you play it in school? Carry on, Mel. Sorry.
No, I mean, my train of thought was basically like, at what point does exercise then stop being a fun thing and start becoming more of a punishment? Like, I think for me anyway, I mean, I've always enjoyed sports, but I know a lot of people, once they get to high school, for example, it may be that when they get more body conscious, or they just don't enjoy it, like that, then it becomes a chore. But in actual fact, like, you look at the people that live the longest, or the communities and the societies where they are thriving because of health, it's not a chore, it's an actual part of everyday life.
And that's how it should be. I think, like, ironically enough, I hated PE in school because I was forced to do things that I didn't like, and running was
The
fucking
amount
one
of
of them.
times I forgot my PE kit and wrote a fake note for my mum in my diary to say, sorry, I can't do it.
I did that,
Not
but I got
today.
fucking outed.
Oh,
Like, if I
did.
forgot
They rang-
anything...
they knew that it was like child's handwriting, and they rang me when I got like a detention or something.
Yeah.
But I hated it in school.
I did, because
Why
it
did
was
you
just
hate it?
all running. I
Yeah,
couldn't run.
I
I had
think-
aspirin. It was like... I wasn't fat and I wasn't slim, like I was stocky, so it was like, oh, this fat kid can't keep up because I'm fucking out of puff at the back or stopping walking, so it made me feel shit, and it's that association of it.
Did you not enjoy any sport? Like, not
I loved
football
football, but that was midfield, so I could pick when I ran and when I stopped. Like, if you're doing cross country that they fucking seem to love to do,
I despised
stop.
cross country. I thought it was fucking horrid.
and
Like,
they always did it when it was muddy, so you'd end up piss
Yeah.
wet for the rest of the day. And I don't like being dirty.
No.
I've got OCD.
what did you not like about it?
I actually don't know. I just didn't like it. Like, I think like in primary school I didn't mind it. Like, I actually quite enjoyed cross country in primary school in a way.
Probably
It
because you
made
weren't
me
doing
feel-
long distances.
It made me feel awful. Like, I was dying at the end of it. I was probably always like the last one to actually finish. But I think I enjoyed that. Like, every time we did cross country, I would get a hot chocolate after.
That's what she was running for.
we never got that.
In high school, I just think I don't know what it was, but I just didn't like it. I just think I think maybe I just liked to rebel a little bit, and I just couldn't be arsed.
Because I know a lot of girls, like, and obviously I'm talking girls because obviously that's who you exercise with, don't you, when you're in school, or we did. Like, they were on the period every single month, every single day of the month. Like, they just didn't want to move. Like, it's just interesting at what point does someone decide that they don't like or they don't want to move? And I'm guessing it's a bigger question than a podcast, but like, why don't people want to do that? And then at what point? Because I think once you get into an adulthood, then it's a chore. Then it's going to the gym or going to a class or going and moving your body. It becomes a chore then, less about. And then what normally happens, I assume, is that people progressively put more weight on and progressively get out of shape because they're not moving, and then that's when I guess you start going, oh, I don't look good, rather than I don't feel good.
I think that I always like, if I feel shit in myself, like if I look in the mirror and think, oh, I don't feel good today, like that makes me not want to go to the gym. Whereas if I feel good, like I want to go, and I think that's probably a big thing. Like, if you've got yourself to a point where you are quite unhealthy and like you've not been going to the gym and you feel a little bit anxious about doing it, like that's when you kind of avoid that.
It's sad that though, isn't it? Because like I'll always like drive past people or see people in the gym where no, they're not the typical gym person. They're not the typical person that you would expect to see in the gym. But I'm like, good for you, because you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? You've
100%.
at least they're on that journey. They're not sat in like hiding from the world.
Yeah, and it's just getting past that point, isn't it? Like, once you've kind of started going, you've got over that bit of fear. That's that point where like you're going to make the changes, and I think everyone like deserves that.
Yeah, it's once it's ingrained as a habit. Like, the hardest thing is getting started, and it's also hard that people think it has to be perfect and they have to tick everything. Like, just take it one day at a time. Like, you don't build a house in a day. It's done brick by brick. So see your progress like that. You can't just get it overnight. And I think that's what they want, instant. And we are a lazy society now. Everything is literally on tap.
Yeah.
So that's why people are getting fatter, unhealthier, and they don't want to move. There's no enjoyment with it because they see it as, oh, exercise is just for fat loss or the influences, and it's far from it. It's for your health and your longevity.
How would you both kind of imagine to like reframe that in people's minds? Like, it's less about, because everyone's bodies are different, aren't they? Like, I've always had, like, what I class as thunder thighs. Like, I'm never going to have the big...
Me too. Mine clap for me.
And I've got the complete opposite. Yeah, I want your two's legs.
Yeah,
so we never have what we want.
So, like, I think everyone's bodies are always going to be different. Like, and I think naturally you'll look at your own body and go, oh, I wish that was just a little bit thinner or whatever. Like, but that, your mindset, or all of our mindsets, really ideally should shift from, I want to look this way, or I want to look like Kim K, for example, but more to, I want to feel healthier. I don't want to be out puffing and going up the stairs. Like, how can we kind of like transform that idea?
I think
and
you need
perception?
to find what works for you. So, like, what exercise do you enjoy? Because, like, previously, like, it's like, oh, let's go for a run, and like, no, after about 1 minute 53 seconds I'm done, and I never want to run again. Like, I just can't do it. It's about finding what works for you, and there's so many different options. And like, another thing, like with you saying, like, I want to look like Kim K, like, I've always done, like, I look at pictures of women and think, oh, I want to look like that, but I'm never ever going to look like that. Like, I've worked really hard for 3 years and I've still not got that body that I wanted, but now I know that I'm just working for a better me, not aiming to be someone else.
But you can't change your physical bone structure. Like, that's your body, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look amazing anyway. So, like, but I think you just see it in different ways, don't you? You look at what the ideal woman per se it looks like, and then you're trying to marry it up with that, rather than go, actually, my body moves, every single one, both of my arms move. I can move my legs, like, I can breathe. I'm from Aberdeen, I've got both. But, you know what I mean, you don't quite appreciate, do you? I think, and I certainly, because obviously all three of us are in that kind of, like, millennial generation where we've been brought up with, like, cellulite was a fucking no-go. Like, the size 12 was absolutely overweight when it's a normal person's body size.
Yeah.
Like, my ass is a size 12.
That's what size I was in school, and it was like, I was classed as
overweight.
Bigger. I wasn't the slimmest. Like, I was just, because I was short, I was stocky, but do you know what, I'm okay with that now. Like, I fucking trained for years to get to a point where I'm comfortable, and I think I highlighted to myself the other day in my own little brain, like, when I actually looked quite hench, and I said to you, fucking hell. But back then, I wasn't happy with it. I wanted more. Yeah. And you'll always want more. If you're chasing the aesthetics, which I always will, to be fair, like, I like that muscular look. But if you're chasing that, you're generally never happy, and you're always chasing more. Like, it does spur me on to keep going, but I know that when I'm older, like, I've got enough muscle to actually keep me going, because it does increase longevity, and I'm not going to topple over as a little frail old person.
Yeah.
So I've looked after myself, obviously, for my health, but obviously on the aesthetic, it's been a byproduct of it anyway.
To be fair, I still want to be in the gym at, like, 60. Like, I still want to be moving.
Well, I'll still be rocking it out. All the coaches will still exist then. All round OAP. But no, I will wrap it up. But today I just wanted to reiterate the fact that it doesn't matter if the scales are going up or down, and if it's £1 or £2 each week, it isn't going to kill you. Obviously, if it's progressively going up every week, then yes, you might be gaining body fat, but you have to eat. I think it's 3,500 over your calories to actually gain £1 of fat. So if you know you're not doing that, and you know you're ticking the boxes, it isn't going to be that. But focus on the body composition and make exercise a part of your life. Whether it's 10 to 15 minutes each day, it doesn't have to be an hour in the gym, and just include it into your life to actually look after your health, not just a fat loss tool that you do every 8 weeks, quit, and then start again in that vicious cycle. So that's my Martin Luther King moment right there. Have you got any input, anyone?
I just think just try and not focus on the number. Like, we talked about scales, like, talked about sizes. Like, I mean, you can fucking walk into H&M, pick a size 10 up, and it can be completely different in Zara. Like, just go off what you feel. And the same to touch on what you just mentioned, Rach, in terms of, like, if you don't enjoy running, don't fucking run. Like,
no, you'll never catch me running.
Yeah, just
what do I run for?
The fucking ice cream van.
Yes.
But I think just do what makes you feel good. And fine if the scales make you feel good, but
they don't. Like, disassociate from a number. Numbers are infinite. It's the same as money. If you're constantly chasing that special number, it's always going to be infinite. So if you attach your happiness to that, you'll probably never be happy. So just do it for your health, and you will feel better from it, and your body does change as a byproduct of it anyway. So we're not exercising just to be a smaller version of ourselves. We're doing it for our health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's to add, Rach.
I think that's everything.
Yeah.
That's
So
enough words for me.
hopefully everyone has enjoyed this, but if you have got any questions or if you do need any help getting started on your fitness goals, you can drop any of us a message. We will be happy to help, and obviously there is some information on our Instagram and the website. So we will leave it there. I will see you later. We are actually having what are we having? A porn star martini and a French martini while we do this. So this is balance, and we advocate that. So we will see you. Well, no, we won't. I'm not seeing anyone.
What are you doing? I think we always find the closing.
The closing's hard.
It's so difficult. Like the starting it used to be the hardest thing, but now the closing seems to be dragging it on. And I think the hardest thing is that we can now see the timer at whatever 2014. So yeah, I'm waffling now, and this is a bad thing. So
Bye.
we're gonna go. Give us 3 wings when you're home safe. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.